Hi loves, Cynple here, and welcome to my series on hair extensions, telogen effluvium, anagen effluvium. How we use hair extensions is kind of like a cast. You know how if you like break an arm, you break your arm or something, when the doctor resets everything, they put your arm in a cast until things heal up. Well, weaves and extensions are that for your hair and your scalp. If you have a hair shaft disorder or a scalp disorder that your cosmetologist or trichologist is needing you to heal up, depending on what type of scalp or hair shaft disorder it is, weaves and extensions are everything. But again, you always need some type of tool in your arsenal, so stick around to the end of this video to not only learn a little bit more about how weaves and extensions are used to help you through these processes, but you can also learn as you watch these videos what herbs and botanicals and extracts you can use to push you through this healing process. So let's get into it. Now, the woman that you are about to look at is one of, if not my favorite client, Stacy. What's crazy, the day that I'm filming this, I actually talked to her today because like some of my clients I had really personal relationships with, and this was one of them. We'll talk about that more later, but that's not what we're talking about today, okay? So this is one of the many sets of hair extensions that we had, right? Stacy used to play with my emotions all the time because she would let me grow her hair out super long, and then she would cut it off in a short bob all the time. So I'm going to demonstrate that today because what you are watching right now was our regular regimen. Today in 2024, my daughter is about to be 13 years old. I was doing Stacy's hair when I was pregnant with my daughter. That is how long this beauty right here has been my client, right? So right now what I'm doing is braiding off, or not braiding off, but twisting her leave out, right? I never, unless there is a certain reasoning, right, which we'll talk about later in this series, I never braid up the hair along the hairline, right? Because regardless of age, as a woman, that is the first place to go, either the middle or around the edges, the perimeter. And what we are doing is making sure that her hair stays intact and healthy throughout the anagen phase of her hair growth cycle. And remember, the majority of the hair follicles on your scalp are in the anagen phase at one time. So don't stress like, oh, which hairs are in the anagen phase? The majority of the hairs on your scalp are in the anagen phase, right? This is why when I'm doing extensions, I'm not using a whole bunch of product. I think that's one thing that people get really confused. They link hair products and packing hair products and hairstyling or hair care into one scenario, as if you can't do different hairstyles or have healthy hair practices without all of these hair products. And the reality is that's not true. As a professional, any professional cosmetologist, regardless of the race, they are never dependent on globs and globs of product. Regardless of race or ethnic background, the overall point is to have weightless hair, even during your protective styles. And hair extensions are one of my favorite protective styles. A lot of people talk a lot of crap about weaves, but then those same people, they also wear like not lock extensions, crochet braids. So when you think about what a crochet braid is, right? A crochet braid is going to be a thick fiber, right, that you're putting through a braid, versus when you're getting a sew-in, you're attaching whatever the extension is with a silk or nylon thread. It's very different. There is not as much weight, as much rubbing and tugging. Most people don't really think about it because the style is so cute, but when you have crochet braids, you are having constant friction on the scalp because the crochet is wrapped around the braid and along the scalp. So every time you move, when you sleep, everything you do, you are rubbing and causing friction, right, on the scalp. So it's different when we're talking about sew-in weaves and things of that nature. For one, it was created by a Black woman in the early to like mid 1950s. I'll have the video link where I talk about her in the description box below. But weaves was never something that was made, oh, because Black women didn't love themselves. No, extensions have been around for a very long time. Your tape-ins, your microwefts, your fusion, your I-tip, all of those have been around forever, right? But those were not really for Black women because of our normal practices. So sewing weaves have always been the GOAT. But then, of course, frontals and things of that nature came along, and we just forgot completely about the traditional sewing, and all anybody thinks about is frontals. But in reality, that is where the whole weaving thing went wrong, because most professional cosmetologists like myself, because there's a bunch of dusty ones out there, so I talk about the dusty ones, okay? Most professional cosmetologists like myself never really switched over to doing frontals, and if they did, they had serious disclaimers on the website, right? So for Stacey's hair, along with all of my regular clients, I have a certain technique when I sew. When we're in the middle, I go under the weft, and on the side it's I'm sewing I sew over, so you can see it as you watching. I told y'all before, I'm not a teacher like that when it comes to hair stuff. So you just gotta look and learn, because that's how I learned, from looking. So let's talk about the human hair growth cycle. Make sure you check the link in the description box below so you can watch the full playlist on the human hair growth cycle. But upon understanding the human hair growth cycle, it makes it really, really easy to comprehend why this type of protective style of sewing would really, really, really be something that's beneficial for someone who is healing their scalp, right? And they don't want to put a whole bunch of tension on their hair, right? You don't want to constantly be doing your hair every single day, especially if you're trying to train yourself out of the mind frame of constantly wetting the hair and constantly putting products in the hair. As you learn, it's really, really important that you have other things, right? Other things to preoccupy your mind. And one thing that really, really helps you to preoccupy your mind, making space, making room, meaning you're not pressed about your hair 24/7, thinking about what products you're going to do if you get certain forms of hair extensions. Now, are they for everybody? No, there will be people who say that they don't like it. You don't have to comment and say, weave's not for me, because this, I get it. But in this case, we never had that problem. Extensions was always the number one thing that we went to whenever she wanted to give her hair a break. Not to mention, we're in Las Vegas. So this right now, when we're watching this, I already know, because I did her hair for so long. When the summer rolled around, oh, we were putting extensions in, because it's 100 degrees plus outside. And the last thing anybody wants to do is try to keep their hair from reverting back when you live in the middle of the desert. Okay? In Las Vegas, Nevada, it's cute. You see the strip and all of that. When you actually live in Las Vegas, you don't go on the strip ever, unless you have visitors in town, and it's like, oh, it's something that you dread, right? Other than that, if you are from Nevada, or if you live in Nevada, people from Las Vegas, Nevada, we hibernate in the summer. Literally hibernate in the summer. Do not come outside until it's dark, and even sometimes at night it's really, really hot. So that's why our routine and our pattern was always her getting hair extensions, and she always had something like either witch hazel or rose water to cleanse her scalp with, or she had me, right? So if you decide to get hair extensions, make sure you check out Cynple Apothecary, because we have some amazing witch hazel. Witch hazel is an amazing addition to your sewings, because all you have to do is take a little cotton ball, press on the top of this container, and then it comes right out the perfect amount, so you're not drenching your hair in it and using too much. Remember, when it comes to witch hazel is for external use only. Internal use will cause some problems. But if you again are needing to cleanse the scalp when you have hair extensions, this is the perfect thing to do. especially if, like I said, you live somewhere super hot like we do. Las Vegas, right? Or somewhere super hot, like where I'm about to move, Arizona, So it's really, really important that you really, really understand what you're doing when you get a sew-in. I think one of the main problems that people have whenever they get hair extensions is it's a kind of mentality of like, okay, set it and leave it. But you still have hair under there. So a lot of times, as long as your weave is looking good, you think that you could just keep it in as long as you want to. But then the reality is, it's really, really hard for you to keep up with your hair extensions and for you to keep up with your hair's health when you're not paying attention to your scalp and to the hair that is under there. Now, obviously, you're not worried about how to comb your hair when it's braided. Obviously, it's fine. That's why it's imperative that you set the bonds properly when you first get started. A lot of people aren't going to agree with this, but one thing that makes my skin crawls and my ear itch is when I see people just stretch the hair before they braid it. Because if you're only stretching it and you're not properly blow drying the hair, when you take those braids out, it's going to be a problem. I'm just saying. But do what you want to do. Do what you want to do, player. But at this point, her hair is properly put in. Her sew-in is matching the curvature of her head. So I really employ you guys to start learning the curvature of the human scalp. Like learn about the nape, right? And the occipital bone and all of that, right? Because when we're doing sew-ins, that is so important. And a lot of people, especially if you've been doing sew-ins for years, it's kind of on autopilot. You don't even realize that which bone you're making sure you put the braids on. You don't even pay attention to that because it's second nature. It's something that you can now do with your eyes closed, So I know on social media, when you see weaves and extensions long term, they look extremely damaging. But let's be real, like the times that weaves and extensions are damaging is when you leave them in way too long, right? Let's say your hairstylist tell you your weave is only supposed to be in for 2 months, but you like, okay, if I wash it and if I do this and tighten it up, I can make it look better. Just because it looks better doesn't mean that it's still a protective style. Once you go past whatever that time frame is, you now no longer have a protective style. Now your hair is hosted, right? Your body's already a host, right? You're already a city with multiple, like hundreds of thousands and millions of different forms of bacteria working together to make sure that your body's able to function, right? But if something happens and you allow it to become imbalanced, that's where all of the scalp inflammation comes from. When you have a weave that it's time for it to come out and then you're constantly going back and tightening it, constantly pulling and tugging, that is when our traction alopecia comes up, when your hair is hurting, right? And instead of you taking it out, you pop a Tylenol. That's where the problem is. Here on the screen, what you guys are seeing is a couple of different people that, order from the Apothecary. So make sure if you haven't put your orders in, you do so. And orders go out every single Thursday, right? So if your orders have not went out yet, they're on the way. Thank you so much for your patience, right? So we are going ahead and curling her hair. I pinned some of the curls at the bottom because we're doing like a body wave look. She never wants to keep them like super duper tight. And if I could really sit here and be honest, Stacey never had a preference ever. Like she would just tell me what she wanted it, like give me an overall idea, and then she just let me do my thing. Like she didn't tell me to do this color. I mean, she told me to do it. She paid me for it and stuff, but like she would just be like, do your thing. And clients like Stacey made it extremely hard for me to leave when I did. My clients like Stacey are the reason that I stayed doing hair as long as I did, because I remember wanting to quit like probably year 6 or 7, but because of Stacey, I made it through 15, and that's on God. Like for real, my clients like Stacey, Jocelyn, and Tori, yes, and Ashley, yes, you. y'all. It was y'all, right? So this is how her hair extensions came out. She made sure that she came to see me every 3 weeks for maintenance, and then she didn't go past 2 months with hair extensions. And then whenever we took it out, of course, she came to me. Let me know in the comments of whether or not you want to see a video of one of her takedowns. And I want you to know that we had Stacy's hair growth cycle on lock. Okay, we also had her skin cell turnover cycle on lock, her sebum production on lock, and everything. So if you guys want to again see one of her takedowns, just so you can see like the massive growth that she had over the years. And I'm going to say this, if every client, and I mean this, if every client that I had was like Stacy, when I was standing behind the chair, I would still be behind the chair. I know that for a definite fact. So everything happens for a reason, you know. Everything happens for a reason, because if I was still doing hair, it's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have been able to do. I've been able to help thousands upon thousands of women, and if I was still standing behind the chair, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So yeah, everything happens for a reason. But this is how her extensions turned out. This is how they always turned out. We literally did every style you can think of. I don't want to say every color, because she's like really corporate, but she owned her own stuff. So, you know, being in real estate, she didn't want to have green or purple hair, so we didn't go in that direction. If I wanted to, she would have let me, but we didn't do that, right? So again, this is how her hair extensions ended up coming out. I'm not really big on edge control, so that wasn't edge control. It was more like a smoothing putty. I'll leave it in the description box below just so you guys can see it. It's by Kimber. I freaking love it. And you'll be able to see like she didn't have a relaxer. She had I don't want to say she had virgin hair, because we did color her hair, so her hair wasn't virgin. It was chemically treated, but she didn't have a relaxer, so anytime edge control touched her hair, it would make the curls revert back, because one of the main ingredients in edge control is water, and H2O breaks the hydrogen bond. The H in H2O stands for hydrogen. So so this is how her hair turned out, full sew-in with a middle part. She can put it up in a really, really high ponytail. She can curl it, as you can see, because it's curled, or she can wear it straight. Loved her extensions, and so did she, right? So this is the way that I made sure that my clients were always able to retain length, right? When they decided, or when they were feeling like, you know what, I am tired of my hair. Because let's be real, everybody's gonna have that moment. Your hair gonna be on your hair for the rest of your life. So you will have a certain point in the year, like you may have 3 months out of the year, or like just a time frame that you have a whole lot of stuff to do, and you like, I don't have the time and the patience and the accountability to be in my head like that. So that's when you would get a sew-in, right? Whether it's with a natural part or a closure. I will always tell my clients, like, if you are trying to have less accountability, the last thing you should get is a frontal, because a frontal is so much accountability. You have to do so much maintenance. It's extremely high maintenance. A full sew-in with a lace frontal is one of the most high maintenance services that you can get in a hair salon, period. So when you're talking about weaves and extensions, it's something for convenience. Again, like I said at the very beginning, it's something that you do to like give your hair a rest, right? So this room that I'm in, this is when I was doing something for a share, right? So she was coming in as a model, aka a client, because even if I tell Stacey it's free, she's still gonna force me to take her money. That's just how it always went. So anywho, at this point we are going ahead, and she wants me to cut it. That's what I mean. We grew her hair out again from our last bob, and it'll take me a while to find all of the videos, because like I said, I've been doing Stacey's hair since before I got a YouTube channel, since before I was on Instagram, since before anything. Like just since the beginning. So her hair has been at every length. Like I actually cut her hair in a bob shorter than the one that you're about to see in this video, and her hair always grows back. It would be almost like she would be playing with my emotions, right? Because she's from Cali, and y'all be doing that. Like, she'd be playing with my emotions. She'd be like, oh, yeah, Sid, you growing it out. And we would do like 3 or 4 weaves back to back with like maybe, you know, a couple of breaks in between. And every time I would, you know, go to put it in, I'm like, oh my gosh, look how long it's gotten. And she would have this little smirk on her face. And after a couple of years, I would be irritated, like, whatever, Stacey. Not for real irritated, but like, whatever, Stacey, because you just sitting here playing with my emotions. Like, you know that you literally just gonna let me grow your hair out, and then you just gonna cut it. You just want me to cut it. That's just what you want to do. And it was funny because at the beginning, I wouldn't cut it like that. Like, it was one day she kind of forced me to do it, and I was just like, forget it. After that, I was like, where you want me to cut now? Just tell me where you want me to cut. So when I'm making videos and I'm telling y'all hair growth is not hard, you don't have to put all this stuff in your hair, I'm telling you this because it's what I know. Like, I don't get on YouTube like just randomly like looking at other people's content like, what can I make to negate that? No. To be honest, I don't know what other people are saying until you guys send me the videos, because I'm not one of those YouTubers that watch YouTube videos in my own genre. So I don't even really watch videos about hair unless somebody sends me a video about it for a commentary. And to be honest, I don't really do that. So what I give or here on my channel is what I've learned, right, through the student loans that I still gotta pay up. Now I ain't making up nothing. I still got student loans that ain't paid off. Okay, it's gonna take me a long time, you know. So that's something that I really want everybody to think about. But look at her density. Look at the fullness of her hair. Look at her density. Again, did her hair for years. And at this point, me and her haven't seen each other in some months, right? But her hair is still always really healthy. You know why? After having a cosmetologist like me for over a decade, you know exactly what to do. She knows what to do, whether she can come see me or not. Right? So it's not that deep. It's really not. So again, now I am straightening her hair. All I use thus far is leave-in conditioner. Obviously shampoo and conditioner, but leave-in conditioner, and then I am using a heat protectant from Kimber that you're going to be able to see as we move along. It's right there, the little silver bottle. Been using Kimber my whole career. So now as we go through, you can see the luster and the shine in her hair. Again, at this point we have not seen each other in years, so whatever you see on her ends is all her doing, and I need you to know that her ends are gonna look really good. When I'm making videos saying, hey, you should go in and see a cosmetologist to get a trim, I'm not saying go see a cosmetologist because you are somehow incapable. No, because guess what? If you find a cosmetologist like me, not me because I'm retired, but if you find a cosmetologist like me and they're out there, they're going to make sure that you're equipped to take care of yourself, whether you can see them or not. Right? So that's why you're gonna be in trouble if you go back to your stylist and your hair looks crazy. But did y'all see her ends? Her hair looks good. She do not need a haircut. She's just stressing me out. She showed me the picture. She's stressing me out. She made me do this. She made me do it. I did not want to do this. Harpo. I did not want to cut this woman's hair. I did. But she also knew, because she's been getting her hair done by me for so long, she knew that A-line bob is my favorite haircut, because I love to over-direct. Over-directing causes the most sharpest asymmetrical lines you've ever seen in the most easy, most simplistic way, right? So that is what we're doing. Now I am taking slightly, not quite all the way, but slightly vertical sections, right? And cutting the hair at an angle to make my initial guide in the back. And then after I do that, as I go up, my parting is going to get more and more harsher diagonal lines, and then I'm going to over direct. And by over directing, I'm going to cause those really, really dramatic drops, right? So I really, really hope that makes sense. And then after I over direct, then I'm going to go through and play with the angles and creating a whole bunch of different layers in her hair. That is why this was one of my favorite haircuts, because it really, really causes you to combine a whole bunch of different cutting techniques into one, right? So you're doing point cutting, slide cutting, and over direction all at one time, right? So I hope I was able to explain that good enough. That's as good as I can do. Because like I said, science stuff, bonds, all of that, I can explain that to you until I'm blue in the face. But for whatever reason, hair cutting, that's the best that I can do on explaining it to you, okay? So now again, I'm finishing up this guide, making sure that it looks exactly like I want to look. And so you see how my lines are getting a little more, you know, dramatic as it pertains to like the diagonal lines that I'm using. And then now I'm going to start over directing. All over direction means is taking the hair to the opposite side. And when I take her hair to the opposite side, what I do is I end up creating this drop, and then all I have to do is go back and clean it up. That's it. That's all. And I keep doing that on every side, and before you know it, you got a silk nasty A-line bob. Like, that's just how we go. So really, 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 I tell everybody, make sure, and obviously this is professionals, or you want to be an at-home professional, practice on a mannequin. You can go ahead and practice over directing on your head if you want to. You go over directly be bald head. So make sure that you get a mannequin. So even the way that I'm cutting right now, that's over direction, taking her hair all the way to the other side, and then just pay attention, right? Just let it cook. Because you're going to notice as I keep over directing, the lines get sharper and sharper and sharper. And then now all I have to do is go in here and then clean everything up to make the parts that I over directed match and line up with my guide. And then I have the perfect asymmetrical bob. And now at this point, I'm just going to go through and keep on following all of those same practices until the hair meets back up. And this is the thing. Once again, this is probably the longest bob that I ever did on Stacy, and her hair grows right back. I have cut her hair like this so many times. Your hair grows back, but when you don't have healthy practices, then you're always going to be a person who's always really, really nervous. Like, you won't want to get trimmed, you won't want to get your hair cut because you'll be like so really, really mind bent on your hair can't grow back, and the hair that you have on your head is the longest that it can get. But that's not true. Weaves and extensions are not bad. Having your hair straight is not bad. As you can see, a woman who came and got her hair done by me for years, okay, years, and she doesn't have any heat damage. Anything that you see where there are straighter pieces, that is from when we used to relax her hair in the front. But we no longer do that. Not because her hair was damaged, but we just don't do it. She just didn't need to. It was a habit that she had before, but we don't need to. And it was so long ago, I don't remember why we didn't do it anymore, but we just did it. Okay, we didn't need to. So now what I'm doing, I'm still over directing, but right now what I'm more so doing is putting in some layers. So yes, I'm over directing, but I'm over directing and putting in layers at the same time. This isn't necessarily like a choppy bob. I kind of want my lines more sharper at the bottom, so I'm not doing as much point cutting, if any. I don't think I did any point cutting of this video, but yeah, this is once again my favorite haircut. So if you've learned anything new about hair cutting, make sure you let me know in the description box below. I think one thing that makes my eyebrows itch is when I see somebody cut a bob, but they just do it like straight across, like just create the shape and that's it. Never really works. So what I just did, she just got a slight little couple of drops, well no, one little drop of serum, wrapped her hair up, set her under a cool dryer, and now shakala boom, shakala bam. Like, this is how it's looking. And I don't know. I just always loved doing Stacy's hair. Always, always, always. And as you can see, we didn't color her hair this time, but I think her braids was looking sexy smooth, okay? Like or icy. Like Gucci Mane said. But let me know what you guys think about her cut, right? And let me know if you think that this is something you could follow, right? You could even get your own mannequin and try this cut on your own just to see how well the over direction is working out for you. And as you can see, her edges are not full of edge control. They're not wet, they're not greasy, none of that stuff. Everything looks really, really good. Her hair is really full of body, and so now the way that I'm combing it through is just to give you and her a better view of exactly how her layers look and how this cut looks. But it ended up coming out super beautiful, and I really hope that you guys see that you can get out of bondage as it pertains to your hair. You are not stuck only wearing your hair one way. Just when you get up and spray something on it and then walk outside, you're not stuck wearing your hair like that. You wearing your hair in other hairstyles, different forms of extensions, is not a reflection of if whether or not you love yourself or not. Just like you do maintenance on your nails, on your eyebrows, just like you wash your butt in the morning, you can try different things with your hair, and it grows back thicker and fuller every time. And hair extensions are not bad. They're not something that cause balding and damage, because if it did, her hair would not look like this after over 13 years of wearing her hair in weaves and extensions and braids. It wouldn't look this good. But she has healthy patterns and routines. She never did wash and goes, twist out, drenching her scalp in oil, sleeping in conditioner. These are things she has never and will never do. And this is why her hair is beautiful and thriving. All right. Last time I seen Stacy, she had some braids in her hair and her edges was still all there. Okay. So I love you guys so much. Make sure you let me know what you think about this video. Make sure you subscribe and click on that bell notification and comment and leave me your favorite part. Talk to you later. Bye.